Hi, everybody. My name is Nancy Martinez, and welcome to LBR Shares Success, where we encourage you to enjoy, engage, collaborate, and inspire with your peers. Today we have Jackie Vorlicek from Prairie Home Floral. She's in Blooming Prairie, Minnesota, and she's going to be joining us and sharing some great insights with her. And before we jump into that, I just want to say these Tuesdays are one of my favorite. It's a busy day. We just finished up our Facebook Live. That's every Tuesday at 1 o'clock. And if you missed that, you can go back and look at it. It was great. Georgia and Pat Holshoe, our buyer of purchased cuts, joined us, and he had some really good insight on what's hot right now. You probably can't see it, but the arrangement behind me signifies some of the great things that they worked on. So just encourage you to do that. Sandy Schreck, our education coordinator and host of this show.
Hey everybody, welcome to LBR Shares Success.
Yeah, take it away, Sandy.
So today we have Jackie Vorlicek from Prairie Home Floral Gift and Decor from Blooming Prairie, Minnesota, joining us. And she's going to start by telling us a little bit about her shop and some of the things she's doing.
Well, hello everybody.
Jackie.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for the invitation. It's a little bit intimidating to work with you two, being the greats in the business, but thank you for the invitation to join you today. I bought my shop a year and a half ago, so it's really been quite a journey of rebranding and getting my small business not off the ground because it was an existing business before, but like I said, really rebranding, building my customer base and making sure that people know who I am and what I do and what we do here. We're a tiny town, so we kind of have to cover all the bases. It doesn't, just florals. I have other gifts and home decor as well because we need to meet the needs of so many people. So I've done a lot of different things to make sure that the community knows me and build those relationships. And we're going to talk about that later on.
Super.
Yeah, one of the things you were telling me about is your relationships with some local artisans. Why don't you tell me how you built up that network?
So I have 15 different, I call them artists because what they do, their craft, they really are artists. It's beautiful. And I vet those folks. So not just anybody has their things in my shop, but I like to make sure that it's high quality and that it's interesting. We're about 20 minutes away from a Hobby Lobby and a Joann Fabrics. So I always am looking for what's going to set us apart and why would people come to my shop as a destination shop. It's of course happens when people come into my shop to see different items that they'll see me at my design counter. I know not everybody likes to do it. Sometimes I think it's a huge mess and it's a big mistake, but I design flowers in front of everyone. And so petals are flying and I just engage with the customer. They come in maybe for the masks or they come in for a baby gift, but then they see me designing. And sometimes it's a casket spray. Sometimes it's a bridal bouquet, but it actually generates that conversation. I know that I'm not the only shop owner out there that is shocked that people don't know about our shop. Even though it was in business as a floral shop for 30 years, I'm always surprised when somebody from this town or a neighboring town says, oh, I didn't even know Blooming Prairie had a floral shop. So, designing flowers in front of people for the good or the bad, it starts that conversation. I also just added another floral cooler just for my finished designs. So I have Big Bertha where I keep my flowers, but then my design bouquets, then people can see, and it's all lit up at night. So tons of people are going for walks in the evening and they peek in the windows. I can see their little nose prints on my door. Beautiful flowers. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing just to generate awareness.
Well, and so you told me about like each of those 15 artisans that are in your shop, you use their Facebook connections and start really trying to do cross marketing with them. doing some constant contacts and stuff to make sure that you can increase your reach beyond just people potentially wanting flowers. And then, you know, once you get them in, that's where you really capture them and capture their attention and start those conversations about the flowers and what you're doing. So that's a great technique.
Every week I have a newsletter that I send out to my 15 artisans, and I try to have something inspiring. We talk about what's going on in the community. If there's upcoming events, of course, pre-COVID, there was a lot more of that. But we have an event coming up and in September, an outdoor event. So just giving them a heads up. And then if they spread the word, you know, about what we do here, it's just like the compound interest effect, you know, of finance. It's the same thing of like, we're going to tell a friend, and so many people come in, there's like, oh, I'm friends with the girl who does the jewelry here. I'm like, perfect. That's awesome. That's how we get wedding referrals and everyday flowers too. So
that's brilliant. Yeah. Great job, Jackie. I love that.
Yeah, it keeps it diverse in the shop, but it also creates awareness about the shop too.
Yeah.
One of the other things is you know, just to build a wedding business, I have my wedding dress on display. So everybody walks by and like, is that your dress? Is that your dress? I'm like, yep, doesn't fit anymore. So yes,
but it starts the conversation, and you know, weddings look a little bit different right now. A lot of people are coming up with different package deals and smaller wedding things and things that packages they can sell online kind of without a big consultation. So it's a great way to spark that conversation, just getting a dress in there and making sure people know you do weddings, right?
Absolutely. Another thing that I did, because we have a busy freeway that runs past our main street, so sometimes the traffic doesn't make it down to our main street. I had an old 1950s truck that I have parked. It's on private property, but it's a huge billboard and it points people down to the main street. So at least once a week, I have people come in and say, oh, I've been driving past that truck, you know, all month, or I saw the truck, so wanted to come down here. And then along with that, I have my storefront. I have tons of plants planted outside, because with tinted shop windows, and I'm sure a lot of folks have that, with tinted shop windows, it's hard to see inside the shop. And so I have tons of things outside. So even if they don't know that's what's there, it grabs their attention to come in and see what's going on. So lots of intentional things to draw people in.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to shout out to the attendees. If you guys have any questions and you want to use the chat feature, I will be watching, and we'll make sure any questions or comments get aired.
Here you can see that truck where she did that cross marketing. Sorry, I went to your website thinking that was there, but it's actually the cover page on your Facebook page right now is the truck. And so kind of making that association with her social media with the impactful piece that she has for the drive-by customers too, to just get that increased recognition.
So we had a contest when I first put it out there too. So she's named, that's Ramblin' Rosie. So one of the customers named her, and then she got a gift certificate for that. So trying to engage customer base and get the word out there too, get the buzz going.
And Bertha got her name.
She was just a big, loud cooler.
Yeah, that's good.
So one of the other things that you've been doing is doing some lives videos, and yesterday she put up a video you can see here. All right, play baby. It's a time lapse of her just doing a corsage. So it actually is just like a 1-second video that it ends up with, but just a great way to just grab people's attention, just that snap. So you've done some other lives. Why don't you tell us about those?
So while I had to close my doors for Corona, I knew that I had to pivot my business model and somehow engage my customers so they would know what they could come to me for, you know, in terms of a curbside pickup or no contact delivery. So we did a lot of like education. Some of it was sales. Some of it was just being silly. I had my part-time florist. She's also a master gardener and the master gardener coordinator for Steele County. So she came in and we started talking about how to get your garden ready. I also sell plants. I had Stacy Noble from Bulk Horticulture come on, and we actually did a Zoom since she was in Minneapolis and I was here. We did a Zoom meeting where we talked about houseplants and all the amazing houseplants and that craze right now. And she's an expert. You know, I always tap people that know more than I do. And I learned, and we can put on a show together. I also put together a live video on how to do terrariums. I use Len Bush terrarium plants, and that sold. That moved a ton of product because people were sitting at home. They needed something to do with the kids. They needed something to fill their time, and that was perfect. And then lastly, one of my vendors who makes beautiful custom jewelry, she came on, and she also owns a salon. So she had really been at a standstill with her business. And that day we sold almost $1,000 of jewelry because we went live. So it's really powerful. I hate to watch myself. I hate videos of myself. I hate pictures of myself, but it really pays off.
Yeah, well, you're a natural. Do it more.
It is one of the biggest forms of engagement. And so we have just a slide here of some of the research that I've done. We're going to put this up on our LBR Floral Community page for your future reference. But statistics show that live videos get 600% more views on interactions on Facebook. So if you look at that specifically, but right now there's YouTube Live, Instagram, IGTV. And so just a couple things just to think about a story, some, working with a vendor, employee interactions, personal stories, product introductions, and then make that authentic connection with your audience. So just talking to the audience, engage, ask them questions, try to get that interaction, ask them where they're from. Like you guys could tell us on the chat where you're from today. But it does take a little bit of planning. So plan out before you broadcast. Lots of times I'll take my phone if I'm using my phone, and I'll do like pathway of the room and watch it on the video on the screen, because all of a sudden like a big red stop sign pops out and it's like, oh my gosh, I need to move that. So you want to do one little walkthrough first, and then think about adding that call to action. So something like, hey, buy today, or call us, and things like that. But just a couple other things. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you just kind of laugh at yourself and just go on. But the biggest tip on the end is to make sure and ask for that likes, share, comments, and subscribes, so that you get that following built up and that to go on. So we'll share that on our page and on the constant contact email follow-up. But Jackie, one of the other things you are doing with your Chamber of Commerce, you met a friend there, and that's kind of more of a social media expert. Tell us about what she's teaching you about Google.
Yeah, so I'm a member of our local chamber, and we hosted the social media class here in the shop. So once again, back when we could gather in large groups, but one of the things I learned was to really utilize the things that are free advertising. So, you can spend a lot on radio ads, newspaper, or whatever, and you always want the biggest bang for your buck. One of the things that she shared with me is really capitalizing on Google My Business. So everyone should have their business registered with Google. And if you go in and do the Google My Business, you can add posts for free, and you can also add photos. So if you go into mine, hopefully it's functioning correctly, and you can see.
I'm showing them right now. So
perfect. So you can see my funeral work, corsages, plants, different offerings that I have here in the shop. And I don't know, probably like you guys, I mean, you can do so much more with social media and getting on the internet with all of the products. So I have my website. I try to keep up on Facebook. And then this is another free option where you can promote and advertise. I mean, I think about what do I use in my personal life, so Google all the time. If I need a place to get directions or find out something, find where it's at, what do they have, I use Google. So I started digging into this, and you can put your hours on there, your address, your phone number, and people can see your work and see what you have to offer.
I love how you added the touch of your photos, and you kind of showed a good broad variety of what you offer. For me, when I'm looking for a florist and then I see, wow, she's really got a variety, and she's got some really cute sweatshirts in her place, and just your whole personality you can show. Like you said, we use Google all the time when we're looking for something, and to see those pictures really make a difference. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you guys noticed, but she has a 5-star rating. So those ratings are really important. And then, so to get people to do reviews, ask your customers to do a Google review. And then just make sure that you're checking it monthly. And then, so this is something you subscribe to, Jackie, and this is a report that she gets monthly, or is it weekly? I don't know. Jackie,
Monthly.
tell us about this report.
Yeah, I get it monthly, and as you can see, I mean, just from this Google listing, 1,559 people found me that month, which is huge, right? Where do we get that exposure? And it's for free. So it kind of breaks down, just like Facebook business gives you some statistics. This is similar.
And so you can see 54 people went to your website. And so that you're getting that turn to it. So make sure all those links are working. But it's a great way to utilize something that's inexpensive. Just takes some time to watch it and then update your photos on that, and just make sure that all your product mix is going there. Then we're just gonna go back and launch a poll here and just take a look at some of the things that Lisa talked about last week. We want to know if you guys that are joining us today, if you can tell us what are some of the items from last week that Lisa talked about that you put into action this week. So cross-posting from Instagram to Facebook, trying the boomerang photos or the 3D photos. I saw some people doing those, using the hashtags, the COVID cooler designs, adding the occasions to the descriptions was something she learned from a previous webinar, sharing educational videos. She's got the mug promotion and then the shop local. So we'll just see once here. So it looks like adding the occasions to the descriptions, using the hashtags, and doing that cross post from Facebook to Instagram is the things that people are using the most. We'll just share that there. And so we have people networking and kind of working together to keep on going on that. We'll stop share and close that. But if you guys have any questions along here, make sure and put them up in the chat box. Nancy, do you have any questions coming through at all?
I don't have any right now. No.
Okay. So then, Jackie, some of the other things you're doing, taking advantage of during the downtime, tell us about some of the photo shoots that you've done.
Right, so I think, you know, in the summer too, especially, things slow down a little bit. So just doing that prep work for your busier seasons, whether it's artificials or doing photo shoots. I have one lined up for the fall that I'm working on. They are a little bit time consuming to do a big photo shoot, but I think it pays off. You know, you can get those photos and get them out there. So you don't always get the pictures back from our weddings or whatever that we do. So yeah, just capitalizing on, there's always something to do in small business. Even if it's a little bit slower, there's always something to do.
Yeah. Yeah, making sure that you're working on that. And then, you know, going through the photos of your previous weddings that you do have photos of, posting those on social media and using that @ symbol that we taught you about last week to make sure that you're tagging the location and also the other vendors, maybe the photographer. We always need to tag the photographer, but give them credit. Just like you want them to give you credit for the photos or the flowers. But do some of that, like posting those memories right now is another way to make that connection. and also get on the venue websites and be able to kind of do some cross marketing there.
Great. Hey, Sandy, I have a question.
Yeah.
No, not me personally. Lisa has a question for Jackie. She said, I showed up a few minutes late, Jackie. Did you have experience in floral design prior to purchasing this store? Did you work there before? It sure seems like you have a marketing background. That's a nice compliment.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, no, I'm totally new. This is a new profession. Previously, for the last 20 years, I was a teacher and an assistant principal. So this is all new to me. And that's why it's actually a really good segue, why I value the collaborative group that I think this profession has. So I draw upon all the other florists that, whether I've taken a class with them, if I've done inspired design, if they're local florists, I go and introduce them myself. So I collaborate and ask tons of questions. I'm maybe annoying, but I ask a lot of questions to just learn. But no, I don't have a marketing background.
Well, and you were telling me that, you know, you kind of became friends with Mindy and Allie and Lisa too, you know, some of the people that we've had on as guests. And we encourage everybody to use that LBR Floral Community, which is that private group, to be able to have conversations with. And Jackie was asking earlier, like, should she go into real details on exactly, you know, what she paid to have some of these guest designers or guest people on her Facebook. And that's where, you know, use that floral community to ask some of those questions and kind of form those connections. And it's not about competition, it's about community and everybody kind of helping each other right now. And not only right now, in just now on.
From now on. Yes, I love it.
Education, you know, they really stress collaboration, but people worked in silos so often, so like individually, independent. And for me, I've never felt more welcomed in a community than the florist community. I mean, if you ask, people are always so generous with their time and sharing, for sure. So Mindy is my neighbor over in Dodge Center, but there's a couple other florists. We're all within like 20, 30, 40 minutes of each other. And not only do I need advice sometimes, or maybe we need a last minute flowers or whatever, but also just nobody understands this profession like other florists or other floral artists. You know, if you're just swamped with weddings and funerals, nobody understands what pulling those all-nighters is all about, or if you don't get your full order and you're stressing because you need those thistles for that bridal bouquet. Nobody else understands, you know, the eye twitch sometimes. So just having a shoulder to lean on to get us through, you know, and just say, how are you doing? Like, how are you hanging in there? What's going on? So I value that so much.
I really love that. Thanks for sharing that. And the more I hear that, the more it just makes my heart sing. And if we can get our awesome customers you guys just keep doing it and do more of it and use that Facebook page as an outlet, our community page. If they hear you engaging, I think do it, if you can, do it publicly on that page. It's private, so if that makes sense. But if other florists hear and see other engagement, it's just going to encourage them as well. And sometimes people just need to be encouraged to be involved, and obviously you get rewarded, right? Great friendships and just learning, always learning. Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and Jackie, as a thank you, we're going to send you a package of flowers next week. Some of the new blooms that we're carrying at Lem Bush, and so we'll be doing that. If we have other people that would like to be a part of this or have learned from making some of these connections, we would encourage you to join us and be one of the panelists. So you can contact me at Lembush Roses. But let's just take a look at some of the things that Jackie has done. And we're just looking at the poll right now, and we'll put that up. And they're looking at some of the things. So we have people that are definitely going to be checking their Google listings, working with local artisans, doing those lives and time lapse, and then promoting the wedding services and packages. So those are things that people are connecting with today. And so we appreciate your input on that. And we'll do this and poll and share the results. So you can see some of those things. So we have people definitely engaging in what you're talking about. And I need to close that and then go back here. So we really want to thank Jackie for joining us today, and but continue that networking. So you can contact her at Prairie Home Floral in Blooming Prairie, and she's on Instagram and Facebook. And then we will have this replay available on the LBR Shares Success. We have a playlist on YouTube now that's available on a link. And so we'll send that out via Constant Contact. And any other questions, Nancy, at all?
No, but I do have a quick comment since we have a captive audience. And I was talking to Jackie about this earlier. And one of our goals at Limbush Roses is really to not just be your vendor, not just be someone who supplies you with awesome, great product, but what can we do to create more of a partnership mentality with us and our customers? And that's really what we want. We want to help you succeed. It's one of the reasons why we just facilitate this webinar. You guys are the stars and do all the hard work and share all the great information. But we want to be able to do that and more. So feel free to reach out to me, Sandy, anybody here, and just, we always are looking for feedback. So I encourage you to share, and that's how we get better. And we just want to be more, like I said, more of a partner with our customers. So.
Yeah, and we do have some exciting news that we have a new person starting next week that is going to be a social media expert. So we're going to be exploring different class options and stuff like that. Jackie said she's looking for class options coming up. And so we are going to be exploring more of those. But Jackie, do you have any closing comments?
No, just thank you guys again for bringing us all together. Nancy, I just met you today, but Sandy, I've met you a couple of times, and I so admire you for the work that you do in the floral industry. I have a great sales rep, and of course, Jason Lund's sales manager. They've both been to my shop, so that's amazing when you can say that people from Limbush have been here. I feel very valued by the company, and I love what you're doing. I'm so inspired.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. We want to do more of that for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great week, and we look forward to you continuing to share your success. Thank you all.
Thank you.